welcome to the third video of my FM13 story with sport in the Gijón. Today I will make the first month and a half review of what has happened. One of the first things I did was to ask the board to improve the youth facilities, which you can see has been accepted and is going to be completed by the 6th November of next year. The fixtures of the league began with a bad luck defeat against Racing de Santander at their home. It was a close game with little chances for both sides that they managed to win in the last minute of the injury time when their striker, which I don't remember who he was, managed to get a rebound near the goal and get the ball in goal. After that, the improvement of the form of the side since the last friendlies has been noticeable. Villarreal, who is one of the main contenders for promotion, were comfortably beaten 4-1, as you can see, and Hercules, that is also tipped as one of the best sides of the division, and they expected to end 4th, were held to a draw at their home. After that, the results have been coming in a comfortable fashion. One of the changes made in the away games is being a little more offensive than in the previous two away games, where I used a standard tactic, while against Ponferradina, being a weak side like they are, and Mirandés, which are also a poor side, we went a little more offensive with a control strategy, and it paid off with good possession of the ball in each match, and in general very improved performances to the players. The tactics have not been tweaked very much, just minor touches here and there when changing the players for rotation and such. Perhaps Huesca should have been defeated a little more comfortable with more than 2 goals at home, but it was not a game that was really less than expected, as we dominated and battered them comfortably. It could have easily been a 4 or 5-0 victory. As you can see here in the home tactic offensive, one of the little chances that have been made is that the defensive midfielder has passed to be defensive role, and the left central midfielder has moved to be a ball-winning midfielder instead of a ball-to-ball, a box-to-box midfielder. The change in the wingers, swapping the winger attacking with the inside forward support from side to side, was an adjustment for the last match. This is the away tactic, a little less offensive and standard usually, but I used control in the last 2 away games. You can see here I didn't change anything there. And moving on to the table, you can see that we are currently on top of the division, which is a very good sign, so it is still very early to be celebrating anything. Almeria and Villarreal, which is a good thing that Villarreal already faced us and we defeated them comfortably. And Hercules away couldn't beat us. Being those the only two big teams of the league as things stand at this moment that we have faced. So obviously Racing de Santander is also supposed to be one of the biggest teams of this division, since they were just relegated from Liga BBVA as Sporting was. Now if we go to the stats view I made for the squad, you can see a couple of things. First of all, that I changed my mind and Juan Pablo earned to be my first choice at the goal over Ivan Cuellar. His distribution is not as good, but has been performing quite better during the pre-season than Ivan Cuellar. Another thing is that I am trying to do some rotation of the players, and in general everyone but Borja, who has been injured up until just a few days ago, have had a decent amount of starts, with only a few players having definitely more appearances than the rest, like Ivan Hernandez, since the other two centre backs are stoppers and Borja was injured, so Borja is likely not going to start any games or very few ones, and generally a substitute unless something serious happens injury wise. And the right back Alberto Lora, since Luis Hernandez, who is his competition for the post, is by far not as good as him, so in his 3 appearances he's been brilliant. And now, looking at the tackles completed, we can see one of the things I like to see in my team as a sign that it works defensively well, and that is the most tackles are performed by the midfielders and the fullbacks. That means they are adequately protecting the centre backs from the opposition and making what I want them to do, making the opposition midfielders' job of passing the ball to the forwards harder, which makes for this other good part of the stats, and that is that what the centre backs excel at is in making interceptions. The fullbacks and midfielders harass the opposition midfielders, so their passes aren't accurate, and then my centre backs don't have to bother with tackling in the area the enemy strikers, but they can just pick up the inaccurate passes thanks to the work of those around them. Also, you could have seen that despite what I said during the first video, Alex Barrera has had quite few chances to play, since in the pre-season he showed some good glimpses of quality despite his poor attributes, and so he's earned his place on the side, even if he's not going to be a starting choice ever, but as a rotation player he can be useful. As it goes for injury, you can see this view is better. that we have for enjoyed, with Bernardo being out for 3-4 months, which is an important loss since there are only other two pure fullbacks who are worthy of starting. So, luckily, Asier del Horno is decent enough to play in that position. Alberto Lora is just 10 days for 2 weeks. This would have been much better, more important, since there is only one other right back and he's clearly lesser quality. Oscar Trejo is the other important loss to injury. Fortunately, no more than 2 weeks, as he's been our top scorer and being the striker that has seen more easily the goal. So in the last games with Mate Bilic, he's not been bad either. Alex Menendez is out for a month and a few days, but his loss is not as important, as a left back we have already Canella and Del Horno, and as a winger I prefer either Muñiz or Carlos Carmona, despite not being the left wing the best position for Carmona, who is considered to play there outward. I'm not sure yet what will be the frequency of my updates, but for the next 2 months we can see that there are a few tough matches, like the first against Barcelona B. Sabadell is going to be also a tricky game, which, as they are high in the table and they are after all not a low division team as I thought during the pre-season. You can see I don't follow football too much. Jerez will also be a tough game, and Recreativo as well. Maybe Recreativo will be an average difficulty game. Let's see where. Right now they'd be difficult game. Almeria will also be a hard game, since they are also recently relegated from Liga BBVA. But I think we can get a quite decent set of results here and keep the top position for the end of the 2 months. And that will be all for today. Goodbye and thanks for watching.